SEAOHUN Fellowship Program is among our SOAR programs that we try to foster, aim to fostering One Health leaders to placing them to gain a practical experience at the host organization, which tackling on the One Health challenges, either at the country level, at the regional, or at the global level. So with that, I welcome everyone participation for today. So here's the series and the rundown. So we're gonna start with the presentation by our fellow alumni first. We have three fellow alumni with us today. After the presentation, we're gonna go off to the go on with the panel presentation for the discussions among the panelists. So both from the fellow alumni and our host. And then toward the end of the panel, we're going to welcome the questions from the floor from all of you. But if you have some questions in the meanwhile, feel free to type through the chat box. All right. And toward the end of the panel presentation, the next one is the announcement, how we're going to place announcement of the SEAOHUN Fellowship Program for 2021. So I would kick this minute over to Alicia for the fellowship alumni presentation. Alicia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pat. And we are very excited to invite our fellow alumni to present their experience. And first, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Eshtam Kabir. He was SEAOHUN alumni. He was fellow for SEAOHUN in 2018. And now he's working as a focal point and technical advisor at the National Newborn and Child Health Cell at the Directorate General of Health Services in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Dr. Kabir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, and as well as good morning and good evening if you are other parts of the world. It's a great honor for me to present here as a former fellow, and I'm grateful to SEAOHUN Secretariat to arrange this kind of virtual connection with the other One Health leaders. And I can see a lot of people are joined here, and hopefully the number will be increased. So basically, I am from the background of human health as one of the component of One Health. So before joining this fellowship, I worked with the Director General of Health Services, and after completing the fellowship, I rejoined the same position and work here as a technical advisor. So as I told you that I currently work with the Director General of Health Services under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in Bangladesh. And basically my job description is that I provide necessary technical assistance to the program officials, policymakers in the maternal, neonatal, child and adolescent health, as well as nutrition program in Bangladesh. I do coordinate with field level service and coordinate with other authorities with the headquarters. These are the challenging tasks, you know, and a lot of soft skill and negotiation skill to do the diplomatic action needs to coordinate all the stakeholders in the one umbrella. And as I told you, that before joining this fellowship, I worked the same position, and after return, I work as a technical advisor in the National Newborn and Child Health Center. So I work in the Indonesia, Aikman Institute of Molecular Biology, Jakarta, Indonesia. I was placed there for 4 months, and I worked with the USAID's Emerging Pandemic Threats Program 2, known as the PREDICT-2 program. There was a 2 wing. One deals the human samples and other deals with the animal samples. And our one fellow from Malaysia, Dr. Arifin, he works in the Bogor. He deals with the animal samples, and in Jakarta, Aikman, I work with the human sample. And definitely, I would like to thank to Dr. Dodi Safari Dr. Min, and their whole team, because they provide a lot of support for me. They create the working environment for me because I was totally outside from their organization, but they allow me to take as their team members. I'd like to thank to the whole team. During the fellowship reward in Eichmann, it improves my ideas, soft skills, and definitely the professional knowledge for my career. And I learned the biosafety, biosecurity, as well as emerging and re-emerging diseases. And in the Eichmann, I learned to detect and characterize the viral pathogens from biological specimen using the PREDICT laboratory protocol. I also learned the bioinformatic analysis of gene expression through the NGS technique. The most important thing is that I learned how to work as a team and in a completely different environment. And I believe that this is the most beautiful part of this fellowship, to work in the different environment. It will teach you to how to adjust with others, how to learn from the host organization, as well as to contribute something for this. So I believe that I do a little contribution to my host organization, Eichmann Institute for Molecular Biology. In the BSL-2 lab, I helped all my lab mates and did the individual sample preparation, PCR test, and helps the PREDICT project. So in summary, I can say that this fellowship boosted up my personal professional confidence as well as networking. As I told before, that this is the most beautiful thing, that this fellowship will boost up your confidence level as well as a global networking to other One Health leaders. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kabir, for sharing your very interesting experience with Eichmann Institute in Indonesia. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Gavrila Amadea Puspirani. She is SEAOHUN 2018 Fellow, and currently she is pursuing her master degrees in infectious disease and One Health in Erasmus Mundus joint master degree in Universitat de Tours, Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona, and the University of Edinburgh. Gavrila, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Let me share my slide. All right, just to make sure, do you see my screen at the moment?
Yes,
yeah, it's good. You're good to go.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you for SEAOHUN for this opportunity, and good afternoon in Bangkok time. I would like to thank you for the board as well to give me the time and place where I can share my experience here. So my name is Gavrila Amadea, and you can call me Gavrila. I was part of SEAOHUN Fellowship Program in 2018 with Food and Agriculture Organization Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific. It's a AVO located in Bangkok, Thailand. And here, it's my contact address, and I welcome for any correspondence related to SEAOHUN Fellowship and beyond. So a little bit about myself, I will explain a brief. So professionally, I'm a veterinary by training. I was graduated from Universitas Airlangga in Indonesia in 2017. And in my undergraduate year, I was actively involved with Indonesia One Health University Network. INDOHUN is a part of SEAOHUN as well. Then after I graduated, I saw this SEAOHUN Fellowship opportunity. I read the aim of the program and saw the list of organizations. Personally, I saw this chance as a stepping stone to work in international organization as well as experience international environment. Also, I was looking to expand my network and open another opportunity. So currently, as Alicia has explained, I am a last year student in infectious disease and One Health Erasmus Mundus joint master degree. All right, so here, thank you for SEAOHUN, because in 2018, I was granted to be a fellow in FAO rep in Bangkok. Started from July and then got extended until December 2018. So it's 6 months in total. And this picture is Dr. Katinka Depalo as a former senior animal health production officer, and she was acted as my supervisor. The activities, I was fortunate to get involved in field epidemiology training program to obtain veterinary epidemiology training that was held by the DIC Center in Thailand. So this is part of FAO, but also partially by the government of Thailand. And this is one of the activity that I was involved in. And also several meetings, previous days, that I was involved under the supervision of Dr. Katinka. And this picture is the Animal Production Health Commission for Asia and the Pacific, or AFCA, meeting, which was attended by more than 10 country representatives around the Pacific. So the fellowship reward, this fellowship, I think in my opinion, is very rewarding for me. Professionally, I earned a lot. I earned the knowledge in working within the UN organization, know the country situation in terms of animal health, technical skill, and also improve my language, because English is not my first language. So we need to, I think I got improve a lot. And also personally, it was an extensive cultural exposure to work with people from various countries. It was a true challenge for me to work with people from across the globe, talk and interact. I also earned what I'm looking for. I was looking for to expand my network, and I got the network expansion through this fellowship. Oops, sorry. So what is my contribution during this fellowship program? In brief, here's the timeline of what I contributed to the organization. Firstly, I was enrolled in training called Regional Field Epidemiology Training Program for veterinary. It was until August. And then after, I was involved in the World Rabies Day, which one of the program that in this celebration, we were holding a webinar with keynote speaker from government agency, NGO, FAO, OIN, and WHO. And after, there was an emergency meeting of ESF, and then which recently introduced in East Asia. Therefore, I was helping with the meeting. And lastly, as I previously mentioned, it was AFCA that was held together with ISFI, International Symposium for Veterinary Epidemiology and Economic. So most of the activities that I was involved in meetings, and then and also some of the collaboration with other organizations. So lastly, this fellowship that was given by the SEAOHUN is a really opened my opportunity. I realized it was a challenge for recent graduate like I did to gain experience, which experience is most important for our future career. So this fellowship has given me the experience and opportunity to step into global organization that boosts my exposure and network. From this fellowship, I stepped further to work in the FAO Indonesia for a while. And then after, I got accepted in a master degree that I am currently pursuing. So thank you for your attention. Here is the picture of the 2018 cohort. There was me, and also Dr. Kabir was behind there. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Gabriela, for sharing your experience. And that picture of the cohort 2018 is very inspiring. We hope to see more faces coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And right now, I would like to invite Yen Ha Van to share his experience. He's very recent fellow, already 2020. And he just finished his fellowship with ILRI, but he's also currently a lecturer and researcher at the Thanh Nguyen University of Agriculture and Forestry in Vietnam. So Yen, we're very keen on listening to your experience.
Thank you. For the moment, I'm gonna share the screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes, if you can put to the presentation mode, that would be helpful.
Awesome.
All right,
So,
great.
good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tuyen. So in 2020, I was very lucky to have the fellowship. And it's very special that I was placed in Vietnam, not in Thailand and or any other countries because of COVID-19. So, so my host organization is International Livestock Research Institute. So I was there for 6 months. So here's my email address if you want to learn more about the International Livestock Research Institute or you want to know more about the fellowship. So now I talk a little bit about my background. So currently I am a lecturer at Thái Nguyên University of Agriculture and Forestry. So my main research interests include vector-borne disease mapping, remote sensing, NGS for agriculture and environment. And in 2020, I had the opportunity to receive the SEAOHUN Fellowship and worked on mosquito risk mapping under the supervision of Dr. Husuk Lee at International Livestock Research Institute. So in terms of fellowship highlights, I have received excellent support from SEAOHUN and ILRI over the past 6 months. And in my work project, I have received supportive supervision by renowned scientists at ILRI, especially Dr. Husuk Lee, Hong Nguyen, and Fred. This year, in 2020, because I was in Vietnam, but I still have the opportunity to work in international environment with different nationalities, not limited to only Vietnamese. So I have improved my skills too. I also acquired interdisciplinary expertise and public health skills. Previously, I haven't had any experience in public health, but the fellowship have provided me with great experience to explore the possibility of my expertise to the public health. So for fellowship reward, I believe the fellowship has significantly contributed to my professional and personal development. I have increased my skills and knowledge expertise in public health sector, especially in mosquito-borne disease. It's also enhanced my cross-cultural communication as I have worked with different people, nationalities from Germany, South Korea, and during my projects, I have met a lot of experts in public health and environment. So it expanded my network of researchers and also friends. So here's the picture we took during the ILRI partnership meeting. So I had the opportunity to meet different people from different organizations in Hanoi. And this picture, I have met Mr. Tong, and also here on my right is my supervisor, Dr. Husuk Lee. He's very supportive. So my contribution to the host organization, so mainly I supported the data collection and analysis for the project, the assessing the impacts of COVID-19 on the animal sourced food consumers and retailers in ASEAN. And we also managed to produce a manuscript scientific manuscript, and it was submitted to +1 neglected tropical disease. During my fellowship, I provided hands-on training using remote sensing and spatial data to public health. And of course, I was very lucky to participate in different social events at ILRI, and also contributed to research communications at ILRI. So my experience summary, so the fellowship provided me with enjoyable experience and expanded my research network. So I strongly recommend people out there to apply for the fellowship, and if you are overseas, I hope you consider the International Livestock Research Institute. It's one of the best institutes that I have ever worked during my career. So in particular, I would like to thank SEAOHUN Fellowship and USAID. I also would like to thank International Livestock Research Institute in Hanoi. In particular, I would like to thank Dr. Hu Suk Lee, my supervisor, Dr. Fred Ulger, Representative Office in Hanoi, Dr. Sing Dang, Dr. Hong Wen and friends at ILRI. I also would like to thank Taiwan University of Agriculture and Forestry giving me the time to leave my teaching position to conduct the fellowship. Now I would like to share with you my short video we produced during the fellowship. So enjoy.
You may have to switch the screen. We don't see the video, only a lot of noise. Can you switch to the video?
Yeah, sorry.
You have to stop the share screen of your PowerPoint, and then we can
now
share the video. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Awesome.
In August 2020, I received the SEAOHUN Fellowship to work at International Livestock Research Institute's office in Hanoi. So during my 6 months at ILRI, my main work was forecasting risk of colic mosquitoes in association with Japanese encephalitis. Also, I work with other ILRI scientists on COVID-19 impact assessment survey on pork value chain in 4 different ASEAN countries. Fellowship at ILRI has impacted me both professionally and personally. The mentorship I received from my supervisor, Dr. Hu Suk Lee at ILRI, has improved my teaching, networking, and research skills.
ILRI collaborates with the Southeast Asian One Health University Network, or SEAOHUN, since several years. I can confidently say that we were able to strengthen our One Health networks through this fellowship program, and I would very much also acknowledge the support of SEAOHUN in this fellowship program over the recent years and also hopefully in the future.
So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Vipat and SEAOHUN for hosting the event. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much to Yin. Your experience is very inspiring indeed, and we hope it will inspire many more future fellows, as well as all other guys who shared. Gabriela, Dr. Kabir, thank you again for sharing your really motivational messages with future fellows. And now I would like to pass the floor back to Dr. Pat, and he will introduce our partners and facilitate the panel discussion.
All right, so thanks, Alicia, and all the fellows, alumni, for the great presentation and sharing what you learned and your perspective. So you can move on to the next session for the panel discussions. Since Trien shared his experience as a host from the ILRI, so we are great to welcome Dr. Fred Anker, acting regional representative for East and Southeast Asia, and veterinary epidemiologist at the International Livestock Research Institute based in Hanoi, Vietnam, to kick us off. So as not all of you, I'm not sure that ILRI right well known, but I like you, Fred, Dr. Fred, to briefly describe what ILRI does and your work and approaches of ILRI in fostering One Health leaders, as we have hosted 4 fellows alumni to date. So I would get that to you and for your introductions. Dr. Fred. We have yet to see you.
And it seems that you're muted, Dr. Fred.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, yes.
Yeah, first of all, thanks a lot to VPAT to have the chance to talk here in my voice. And you can see we are here. Some of the people here are also helping this. Next slide.
You can use that pointer.
Okay, just one word about ILRI. ILRI stands for International Livestock Research Institute. It's one of the 15 research CG research centers. We have a main campus in Nairobi and Addis Ababa, and the biggest office outside is the East and Southeast Asia region office in Hanoi. We work on food safety, One Health, and more recently also on ASF and COVID. Just to let you know what we did on One Health. Actually, it's more than a decade. ILRI tries to work on One Health and actually as well to train One Health leaders in the region that started with the so-called EcoSat program 2008 to 2013, funded by IRC. Focus was on capacity building aligned with various case studies in each of the 6 countries listed here. I think one of the most crucial outputs was EcoHealth, One Health resource centers at Gajah Mada University, but as well UGM. You can see 2 pictures up. You can see a picture from Bali, where we had a study on dogs, and the picture below is from the kitchen of the wall study we did together with researchers from CMU Thailand. More recently, we work in a not per se One Health project, but a strong multi-sectoral approach is used on food safety in Vietnam and Cambodia, the so-called Safe Pork and Pig Risk project, but also a project on indigenous pigs. And another one is the Safe Food Fair for Cambodia project. And actually 2 of the fellows we had were involved in the Safe Food Fair for Cambodia project. And we have a lot actually of One Health activities related to AMR. More recently, of course, COVID-19, where as well, I think Trien already mentioned that was a bit involved. Parasite pork-borne disease and vector-borne diseases as well. Trien was specifically involved here. Particularly, the EcoSat project led to more than 50, let's say, One Health, or let's say in each country we had 2 champions, and then more than 50, or even more than 100 people trained on EcoHealth, One Health aspects. And now let's come back to the, I cannot really move. Okay, the 4 fellows we had, let's all start with Dr. Hadi Hadisman from Indonesia, Faculty of Medicine of Andalas. And he really filled the gap of a missing public health or MD perspective or expertise we have in the Safe Food Fair for Cambodia. He supported the cost of illness study for foodborne diseases. And he also got some training, provided training on participatory approaches. I think important is that the paper is in finalization for that. We had some challenges here. The cost of the study took finally much longer than expected, but we remained in contact with Hadi, and I think the cost of the study is meanwhile finalized. The second one was Dr. Fali from Cambodia, and that was in country. So she is from Cambodia and did it in Cambodia, also supporting the Safe Food Fair of Cambodia project. And she was actually from the University of Agriculture and studying food safety hazards, in particular salmonella in retail. And then we had from September to December 2018, Narong Butara from Thailand, from the Faculty of Medical Science in Nari Suan, and he came to Vietnam. And supported the One Health partnership with TUF University and also the food safety project on indigenous pigs and parasitic waterborne diseases. Unfortunately, that was a bit seen as a challenge. Narang had to interrupt his schedule due to his busy university teaching schedule. This wasn't really seen perfect. More recently, I don't think I have to repeat that. Julian has just presented that nicely. I just like to say one thing, as he hasn't really mentioned it. Julian was also conducted actually training to ILRI partners on GIS remote sensing. And I think that was also, a very nice output. So it was not just a one-side training, it was really a two-side exchange. So we were also learned from him, and we still maintain the contacts. Let's see some overall reflections. I think all fellows were well integrated in the respective research team and could contribute to specific research questions, which was determined at the beginning already, actually, when we discussed the contract or discussed the fellowship with Zero Network. We prefer a longer commitment, let's say 5 to 6 months, or as long as possible, and surely not interrupted. And maybe less than 3 months was also not seen as most useful for us, as research and kind of training needs time. For in-country or region, I think both work well for us. Of course, maybe most of the fellows may prefer to work in a region or in another country, but I can say for both, for Faling as well for Thuyen, it worked actually very well to have the fellowship in the same country. We had 2 fellows with which cover the missing MD expertise, which we don't have here at the ILRI office. That is, I think, a truly One Health approach. We have scientific publications. One has been actually accepted already. The second one is, I think, almost was finalized and needs to be submitted. And I think this is a really strong output, and I think also considered by the fellows as a strong incentive. Surely 6 months is probably not enough to have a publication. 2 fellows supported also training of ILRI partners, I stated already, for Hadi and most recently for Thuyen. And all of them helped us to expand the ILRI networks to the respective universities. So it helped them to expand their network, but it also helped us to expand our network. Where we see the way forward, we certainly pleased to support the fellowship in the future. Where we see potential collaboration, maybe joint capacity building efforts based on strengths each of those organizations has to offer. But I think we discussed it before, maybe training on risk assessment or risk communication. We're probably happy to support joint communication efforts. Our communication expert, Chinoyan, is here. That could be also something, maybe, I don't know if you have that already, established a pool and potential One Health leaders in the region. And joint explore funding opportunities. I may have seen the recent call for One Health funded partly by IRC, and also the German government is developing thinking to fund some potential One Health research in Southeast Asia. That's also something we probably can work together. And I'd like to say one thing about the ORECA, the One Health Research Education Center and Outreach Center in Africa. It's based at ILRI. And I think that's also something we probably could have some South-South exchange in the future. And I think with this last picture, that is 1 year ago, actually, it's more than 1 year ago, I'm really missing that. That was my last trip, actually, I could do outside of Vietnam at your office in early February, I think. And you see the fellows here, once again, Narong, Thuyen, Fali, and Hadi. in our office when they stayed here during their stay. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much again for the support, and also thank you to the ILRI team to support them.
So thank you so much, Fred, for your collaboration. It's always been a pleasure working with ILRI and the team. And amazingly host 4 fellows from 4 different countries, right? You have yet get my photos that I visit your office a few times. So I hope we can meet again soon, maybe early next year for that. So thanks for your introduction and highlight the 4 fellows that's working with ILRI. And it's a great accomplishment because within such a short period of time, right? 6 months or less, a few fellows actually be able to reproduce a research paper, and congratulations on having the paper being accepted as well. So we're going to go around and then ask our fellow alumni as well as Fred to address some of the questions toward fostering our One Health leaders. So we're going to start having a 2 round of Q&A. Each round I would ask each panelist to address the questions in about 2 to 3 minutes. And then after the second round, the 2 rounds, we're going to open the floor for questions and answer. So get those questions ready, and feel free to share those via the chat box. And our moderator, monitoring, 5 you will read out those questions to address to one particular panelist that we like to address to, or can be in general. So let's start with the first round. So we only have a few spots, SEAOHUN, for the fellowship each year compared to a number of applications that we actually receive. So if our fellow alumni were to reflect on additional knowledge and skills that you actually acquire during the fellowship, what would you recommend universities in addressing these skill gaps so that graduates are better prepared for the world of work? Would there be a way to transform your experience during the fellowship program to the university program, for instance? So I would let Dr. Cabrera kick us off with the thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. Fipat.
Yeah, please go ahead, Gabriela.
Okay. All right. So the professional skill that I acquired during this fellowship are pretty much technical. And as long as I know the veterinary medicine in Indonesia, because I come from the vet school, there's so much basic knowledge that we need to study. And perhaps the skill that I earned is not everyone interest, because most of the time in a vet school we learn about clinic. So I think it's good to have a specialization pathway in the university for individuals who are interested to learn about what we know as more practical epidemiology. In terms of personal skill, I think it is good if the university has broad connection and collaboration with other educational institution, research center, or organization. So thus the broader connection may bring opportunities to the students, exchange, internship, which will increase the student exposure and knowledge about the world of work. Also improve students' social and working environment by having a lot of university connection, university network. Yeah, that's what I think of.
All right, thank you so much, Carvilla. So, Cabrera or Chuan, you have something to add to that?
I agree with Gabriela. Besides that, they should learn to achieve several soft skills as well, how to communicate personal interaction, as well as to involve with the other networking, so they can build up their network and increase their personal professional knowledge as well.
Right, Chuan?
Yeah, thank you. I believe interdisciplinary is very important. So universities should work with industries to have like the internship programs to connect and boost students' expertise. And also, I believe we also like connect between different universities, sharing the experience together, and support each other in terms of teaching curriculum development. For example, in my faculty, currently we did not have a lot of experience integrating One Health approach in the environment programs. So if like ILRI or some other organizations can support, that should be more like comprehensive approach for and improve students' expertise and experience. Yeah, I think, yeah.
So thank you. So actually, the SEAOHUN and all our country network has been working very hard. You see the echo of myself. Working very hard, try to incorporate the One Health into the university curriculum for that, and then try to promote the student not only learning by lecturing but learning by doing, having the field practice and going out for the community service to learn from the real world experience. So that's what we try to push for. And in addition to that is like what we advocate for. It should be multidisciplinary. So when the student learning our university and member universities, we encourage them to have the student from multiple disciplines coming together to learn together, and stimulate all like the student club activities that the student from multiple disciplines can join and go out in the field and practice One Health. But if I were to turn the questions to the employer, the perspective from the ILRI, from Fred, Dr. Fred. So you must have a mentor and interact with several young professionals, right, in your career, not only for the SEAOHUN Fellows. So what could actually universities, as a producer of One Health professionals, can do a better job to equip the student to hit the ground running when they enter the workforce, or they can join ILRI, for instance? What are the gaps, and how can university do better in terms of producing the graduates for the employer?
Very nice question, and I try to answer it shortly. I think key is that the university provide a sound capacity, or basic capacity at least, on One Health. And as you said already, this has to go along with some perspective on learning by doing, on case studies or whatever. So there is, of course, it worked for us best also in the EcoSat project. We had, of course, some lectures at the beginning, but at a certain point, researchers want to apply One Health. So this nice setup, let's say, capacity building by teaching and learning by doing, by case studies, I think that is very crucial for universities to consider to get One Health leaders. Also, I think it's important to have a One Health environment, also a nice One Health environment as a prospective university. That could be also supported by One Health working groups, One Health seminars, and also maybe from the beginning clearly define objectives and potential perspectives for the students. Carefully, when we select potential champions or leaders, we could also maybe carefully explore and identify those champions. We maybe raise a focus on quality, less on quantity, and try to align it with scientific and maybe non-scientific outputs. I think that's what's really count in university background. They need to publish. So if that leads to something they get measured in the university system, I think nothing is better than that. And probably overall comment would be what we found, that it needs time to have some One Health mentoring, and this also requires some flexibility of probably each person is different in terms of One Health background and also in terms of capabilities to do One Health later on. I think that's all from my side. Over.
Right, thank you, Fred. So your suggestions is well taken on that. A lot of time that we should maybe go less with the quantity and focusing on the quality part and promoting the One Health champion that can make a differences and promote and raise awareness of One Health at their institutions. So since the fellowship placement is quite limited in terms of spot and the budgetary constraint, what you mentioned last of the One Health mentoring can be one of the segue that other organizations that they try to match mentor and mentees together through the virtual platform that can start those dialogue and help promote and champion One Health leaders in the futures. So for the second round of the questions, before we open it to the floor, back to our fellow alumni. So how has your fellowship actually changed your perspective? And how are you applying what you actually gained during your fellowship to address the One Health challenges in your countries or any country that you have been working with? So who would like to get us started in this round? So Gabriela, you would like to go first again?
Sure thing, Doctor. So, well, from the fellowship with the FAO, it has explained to me how to collaborate how collaboration action are very essential. For example, a country decision toward disease prevention, it's likely to influence other countries. So it is important to strengthen one another to achieve a mutual benefit. For example, ASEAN countries, what we are now is a very good community, I think, to support each other to move forward. Similarly, with ourselves, individual, in order to move forward, I need other people to support as well. I also learned the collaboration, a tripartite, even FAOI in the WHO. It's also a new form of One Health in the international level. So in terms of the challenge in my country, although One Health is fairly not so recent concept, but the practice is still developing in the world and in my country. Even in the global level, internationally, it just launched recently, I think in 2010. So it will take time to introduce in my country, Indonesia, or even in our community. It is the time and effort we need to take to introduce collaboration work instead of independence to practice in the practitioner level in government and else, especially those who have been working ages with old concept. To train, we need to train and switch into One Health approach. So it is a challenge to introduce this concept to the old system, or what we say as a bureaucracy. Yeah, over to you, Dr. Fipa.
All right, thank you. I see, before I speak, I see Dr. Kabura unmute his microphone. Would you like to go next? So Dr. Kabir.
Yes, from the Eichmann, I learned a lot, how to communicate with others, how, as well as the professional knowledge on biosafety, security, emerging and emerging diseases. But in my country, there was a lot of challenge actually, because I am not in the right place of One Health. But one thing helps me in this fellowship is that during the COVID-19 pandemic, we do a national guideline addressing all the biosafety and security. And during that time, this fellowship helps me a lot. Besides that, I joined in the Bangladesh One Health Network, and Bangladesh is doing well and try to increase its One Health approach through all the national university, and as well as to collaborate with the SEAOHUN as well. Thank you.
All right, same question to you, Juan. How the fellowship changed your perspective and how you have been or plan to help your country to address those challenges within the countries?
So thank you very much, Dr. Fipat. So One Health is basically the collaborative effort of multiple health science professions and also the related disciplines. So before, actually, I had little experience about One Health and public health. But since I received the fellowship and conducted my research at ILRI, I had learned that my expertise can contribute to the One Health. And in terms of now teaching in university, I actively working with ILRI, discussing the possibilities for students and scientists exchange between my university and ILRI. So we send, hopefully, this year or next year, we send students from Thái Nguyên University to ILRI to work on One Health topic. And also, I am actively looking for the opportunities and working with ILRI scientists in some of the existing ILRI projects in One Health. So I contributed my expertise and also increased my knowledge in public health. So, so it has been amazing experience, and I get a lot of expertise during the fellowship. And of course, in the future, my university, I and ILRI are going to work together, and also other organizations in Vietnam to address some of the challenges in public health and environment fields. So thank you. Over to you, Dr. Vietnam.
So thank you so much. I think we heard quite repeating themes, right? So each of us, each of our fellows, former fellows, bring in their own expertise, and we all have a different perspective in terms of the how we can contribute to those organizations. Like Fred mentioned that it's very helpful to have the medical doctors, people from human health, try to contribute to the organization, with mostly from agriculture side or the veterinary side. So learning from the different perspective, how people bring in and networking and collaborating, I think all those things that we need to work on. One Health is kind of a very large and broad aspect. With no one's going to be know it all, but we must be able to come together, respect one another, and work together to solve the challenging problems. So the second round, we go to Fred, and we're gonna open the floor for questions. So Fred, organization like ILRI and us, right? The SEAOHUN, we have worked together, try to build a sustainable pool of the future generation of One Health leaders to help prevent the world from the future pandemic, of course. So how would you motivate young professionals to pursue their career in One Health? It's quite broad, right? But how are you going to motivate? We need a lot more workforce with the people with the different expertise who can come to work together to solve a very challenging problem. How can we motivate more people to come and work in this area?
Thanks, Vipa. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, and that is maybe the most important comment, we need to provide career perspective for One Health leaders. And I think it has changed in the last decade. When we started with our EcoZ project, these objectives were not yet there. But I think over the last 10 years, also because of SEAOHUN, actually, this has really changed. So career objectives, communicate these opportunities, and incentives. I mean, from ILRI side, of course, these career objectives we can probably not really provide considerable. But again, if the fellowship leads to some incentive or to some measurable outputs for them, I think then we have already reached a lot. It would be also nice from my perspective to document changes in career, in this One Health career opportunities over the last decade. I'm sure there has been something changed. Specifically, there's a feedback from the One Health fellows, and maybe from SEAOHUN we have also much more maybe background and could get this feedback from them. How do they see it has changed, and that can be actually promoted to new fellows, and maybe also we could consider that the donor perspective has changed quite a bit. There is now really much more interested in working on One Health, and again, I'm pleased to see it also for German donors, which is being new. Actually, the pandemic, which is a horrible thing for sure, it affects even myself, not being able to visit my family for more than a year, but it's also an opportunity. I think we can, you see, we had somebody from Vietnam in Vietnam, and I think we always thought it might be a little bit difficult to get somebody interested, but finally it worked out very well, yeah. So this pandemic itself may provide a strong motivation for people to change now to a One Health objective, because we never had that before, that challenge. So now maybe this shows even more importantly the importance of zoonosis, One Health, maybe food safety aspects in the future. And probably one thing I thought is also good, maybe you can consider, or we could consider, it would be good to have a pool of One Health applications that we can say, well, look here, this is a One Health paper, and it looks like that we can reach much more when we work all together. And we could have the pool for interested people who want to work on One Health in the future, that they get a little bit more knowledge in the future. I think, let me do one last comment, I think related to the previous comment from Tuyen, also from you. Of course, I see the SEAOHUN very strong in doing this One Health leaders, fostering One Health, capacity building. And for ILRI, I probably see us more in contributing to that, but in focusing on specific case studies, technical studies, which actually where they could apply what they actually have learned under the capacity building part. So I think that's all from my side.
All right, thank you so much, Fred. That's open many areas that we can discuss more on the collaboration that we can have together. So now the floor is actually open for the questions and comments. So let me read out one of the comments. Actually came as a direct message to me. So it's quoting that, as a student, I believe that there is still a lot of things to upgrade our skill itself to give contribution to communities by One Health. So please give your thought on what we can learn and prepare for that. So basically, if I frame the questions that I like to be addressed is, how would you like either from Fred or from the fellow alumni, looking at another screen, please give your thought on, what the students can learn and prepare in One Health if they are quite new to the areas, how they can get started basically. So anyone would like to take that questions? So otherwise, I would recommend for you. So we have a wide network, right? So the SEAOHUN right now are comprised of 8 countries, as you know. So if I'm not sure which country are you from the one who asked questions. So you can get in touch with us. I think the great thing that having so many member universities as affiliated with us with SEAOHUN. The first thing is to get started with those member universities. So if you're in particular country, let us know. We can put you in touch with the coordinator with our country network, so they can perhaps you can learn more. Or if they have the student club within the countries, perhaps that you can join those clubs, starting learning more about One Health. There's so many resources out there. We would say that is abundance of information, actually information overloaded. A lot of people can say infodemic for that. There's so tons of information out there that you can find, but you can prompt us and we can get you connected to our member countries in your respected country, and they can share the resources, they can engage you in the activities that they have, because normally our country network also have like the raising awareness campaign, joining the World One Health Day, for instance, that they would like to a broader engagement of the public at large. All right, so is there any other thoughts coming in before we turn the floor to the exciting announcement of the in-country placement for 2021? All right, so it seems there's no questions on that yet. People may be waiting to hear more details about the fellowship announcement. So let me go around and say thank you so much for all our fellows, alumni, and Dr. Fred from our longtime partner, ILRI, for their great presentation and sharing their insight and thoughts on how we can foster One Health leaders for that. So thank you so much. Like your hand, there's no sound for me, just have a hand. So it turned the next up for the Alicia to go around and they announce about the SEAOHUN 2021 fellowship. And any questions or anything coming in later, feel free to drop us a note to chat box, or you can drop us an email. So the floor is turned to you, Alicia.
Thank you so much. I think, 1 second. How do I make it? Okay, like this. Yes, there was one question in the chat box already related to the new 2021 round of fellowship program, and I'm very happy to be presenting today. We are kicking off our new fellowship program this year, and there was also one comment from Dr. Hung from ILRI in chat box saying that you can do your SEAOHUN fellowship in your own country with international organization. I think this should be a motto for our fellowship this year, because this is a difference this year, that we will place fellows from their own country in an international or organization that is very well connected with international partners, but in their own country this year. And this is very much related to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and travel is still difficult, but we already know and heard from Tuyen and ILRI that this actually works quite well, and we are happy that we have this opportunity this year. So this year we will announce each country individually, and please do follow our website and Facebook. When a new country will open the opportunity, it will be updated on our website and you can apply in your own country. And very briefly, the fellowship package usually includes a monthly stipend and a one-time domestic travel to and from the host organization. So this is in case when the fellow resides outside capital city. Otherwise, this will be not applicable, of course. And from the hosting organization, it is placement and supervising by the host organization. And this is up to 5 months. But in special cases can be extended a little bit. We heard from ILRI that Tuyen was there for 6 months, but major consideration is 5 months. So when you submit your application, you will need to have your CV handy and your motivation letter. In your motivation letter, you will explain how this experience will contribute to your career and how it will contribute to, or how it will help you to promote One Health issues in your country. And there will be some other requirements that will be specific for each host, which you will see listed per each country. So right now we are very happy to announce that we already have open fellowship opportunities in Vietnam and in Laos PDR. In Vietnam, we have another host organization which was previously also working with SEAOHUN. It is Wildlife Conservation Society. And in Laos PDR, very exciting that we have FAO in Vietnam on board, and Vientiane, sorry. So the eligibility criteria, very briefly. Candidates must have expertise in One Health related disciplines. Yes, I hear my own echo. Is everybody hear me? Does everybody hear me?
Good now. Oh, good now, Alicia.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. So yes, as a candidate, you need to have some experience in One Health related disciplines, very broadly, and just need to have some work in that area. You have to be under 40 or younger by the application deadline, but this criteria might differ from country to country. So please also monitor the announcements that we have on the website. You also must be able to work full-time in the host organization for the entire period of your fellowship placement. So in some cases, you will take a leave from your main work or somehow negotiate with your current employer that you will have this 5 months allocated specifically for fellowship. The candidates must be citizens of one of the SEAOHUN member countries. which are Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Laos, PDR, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam. And you need, for this year specifically, you need to be residing in the same country as your hosting organization. And there will be some other host specific requirements. For example, some would like to see medical doctors, or some would like to see somebody who has experience in project management. So this is very much tailored to the host needs this year, and please monitor our announcements. This is very briefly, in a nutshell, what is it about the SEAOHUN Fellowship Program for 2021. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write to us. You can see my email on your screen right now. And also please go to SEAOHUN website. As I just mentioned, we have already 2 openings, one for Vietnam and one for Laos PDR. Very excited about that. And you can also monitor on Facebook. We always post our announcements very, very promptly, thanks to Phi, our communication specialist and public engagement specialist. So that's it. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Dr. Pat and I will do our best to answer your questions. Thank you.
Yes, this is Phi. After I monitor the questions, so this question is to you and Dr. Pat directly. Is from Philippines, RJ Claude. Beg your pardon if I spell your name wrong. So the question is, I would like to ask if I can proceed with this webinar despite being an undergraduate student still. I interested with the fellowship program. That is why I attended. Thank you.
So for each country, we approaching all the hosts, not all the hosts, mean that we working with at least one host in each of our member countries. Actually, we have identified them all, but we are still in progress of shaping up the criteria in that specific countries, because this is the fellowship program for us. We staging what we call it a win-win situation. So the fellow actually gain the practical experience, right? Maybe through some short training, and you gain those by on-the-job training with the mentorship. For the host, they're going to receive, kind of your labor, your contribution to the work with their mentorship. So it's kind of win-win for both situations. It varies between the countries and the host of their specific requirement. So right now that we can open only 2, because we have all the criteria all set and be ready for that. But for the other countries, please stay tuned. Actually, we working on in all our member countries. We have our identified hosts, and we hope to open that soon. So if you don't see that, feel free to drop us a note and ask us about the status. So the caution, not that because we put the age at the 40 or under or younger. The reason because of we try to keen on fostering the younger leaders, One Health leaders in the future. So the contribution now that you're going to grow throughout your career path, and you're going to be future manager, future directors of the program in your respective countries, and make a stronger and greater contributions. So we want our program to provide more opportunity to the young / to the mid-career path rather than for the one who has more experience. We have a different program that targeting those more the real experienced one that we have. Such as the program that we had before twice on the engaging intergovernment organization, all those being a faculty members, lead researcher, how you're gonna learn about different international organization, how your work actually impact the policy. So those would be a different type of program that we're targeting, more the well-developed professional in their career. But this fellowship program is we targeting more the younger to the mid-career professionals. So that's our crafting the intention for this program. So I'm not quite sure. I hope I addressed those questions. If not, please, maybe you can type a follow-up question into the chat box. So is there any additional questions coming in now for that?
So I haven't, this is fine. I haven't seen any questions lately from the chat box, and also I had checked on the info aside. SEAOHUN is no question as well.
I think there was earlier in the chat box related to the new cycle of application, how to know about the successful candidates and who will be awarded. So maybe Dr. Pat, you can touch a little bit on how we announce our successful applicants.
So this is how the process go once we have the agreement with the host in the countries of the qualification and the requirement for the candidate, what type of skills that they prefer, and maybe some type of the specific discipline, but it's still more broad. And we encourage more the broader requirement, and share us the type of the projects that they will have a fellow to work on. So the applicants, like, what are you interested now? So you're not going to review only for the host description and what they do, right? So you're keen interested what type of the projects that you're going to get to work on during your fellowships. So after you review and it's kind of matching, you pick, right? You pick and choose, okay, I'm interested in the fellowship this year. You submit your applications, which is quite short. It's only motivation letters and your CV or resume, actually, submitting to us. And then SEAOHUN will review collectively together with the host. The host will determine the final selections. Generally, we let them choose the top 2 or 3 candidates, and they may proceed up to the host whether they like to proceed with the interview first before they actually accept the fellows. Juan knocking his stairs because he actually being interviewed by ILRI before. ILRI saying yes to his fellowship. So that's to try to make sure that the expectation of the fellow actually match with the applicant actually match with the host, and the needs are matched. So after those agreements, we're gonna work through the fine-tune of details that you can actually take leave from your existing organization if you are working, right? So you have to have a permission granted to be on leave and to be with the host organization for the entire fellowship period. And then we go through the agreement with you, how we're gonna transfer the funds and when you're gonna get started for the whole period. So those kind of the following to process. So it's not fixed, cut and stone. So after the deadline of the fellowship applications, you're gonna see an announcement in the poster or the pamphlet that anticipated announcement date of the matched fellows. So you can follow through with that. And feel free to follow up with us after those deadlines. We hopefully to meet those deadlines, but there may be some slight delay depending on the circumstances.
So yes, another question from Luang Yun. Say, when will the fellowship start?
So the fellowship start date, it actually varies, depends on the host and agreement between the host and the fellows. Since the fellowship this year is by local, right? So there's no international travel, except you may travel within the country if you are in different province or different regions. So once the agreement is being made, it can get started basically as soon as possible, as soon as you're taking a leave. So when the fellowship announcement, there's going to be a preferred start date as well, like for the WCS Wildlife Conservation Society, as well as the Food Agriculture Organization in Laos. They kind of the fellow can get started as soon as possible. So once there's a match, you already have the agreement with your employers or your current organization, you can get started. Or if you need a more notification time to your current organization, they can be negotiated with the host that I'm not ready now, but can I start in 2 weeks, for instance. So those kind of dialogue will take place. It's not a hard cut like you applying for learning a PhD or master. This is the semester gonna start on 5 May, 5th of May, and you have to be there. No, this is based on the dialogue between you and the host.
Yes, another question as well come through the chat box from Diana. Hi, I'm Diana from Indonesia. I have just graduated from professional midwifery, UNRIR, and I haven't taken my national examination because it was postponed until the March 2021. Is it possible to submit the application without STR, professional registration letter from the country?
So if you are, I mean that if you consider as the graduate, we don't, it depends. I think roughly answer would be probably be yes. As I do, you graduated, and it mean that you sufficient have that degree for that, but it's the professional exam is still pending. So majority of the hosts that we work with, they do not require the professional or certification in that, but they require that they are knowledgeable in that areas. So once, since you are from Indonesia, so once the host in Indonesia is open, you can review those criteria, whether those criteria is matches with your existing qualification. Just to prompt right now, we have identified hosts. I don't want to say which one yet because we're still working on the details, but they prefer someone who have the laboratory background. This is for the one who are interested in Indonesia. So that's the initial kind of the peak in terms of the criteria that they are looking for. But more details will come up once we have finalized all the requirement with our host. So that will be for Indonesia. So they would be keen on the laboratory persons.
So anyone with any questions at all? Thank you as well, Dana, for your questions.
So you have to come up with one now. So if you have keen interest, you from our announcement, we have our contact person. Alicia will be taking those inquiries, or you can drop us a note and for other information. So since we don't have anyone, we can kind of thanks for everyone for joining. We hope you find the information helpful. And we at SEAOHUN, as Secretariat, we welcome your participation in the fellowship program, or any suggestion that how we can foster or raise awareness of One Health in your countries. We are keen to working with you, your university, organization, or anything that try to promote One Health. So with that together, we hope to be better prepared for the futures. And so whatever that we experiencing right now with the COVID-19 will not be that long. All right. So we hopefully we stop the spread quite sooner rather than later. So thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. Please keep in touch and have a nice afternoon and have a nice day, everyone, for the one who joining outside Southeast Asia.
Yes, and also this is from Phi. I'm working communication from SEAOHUN. I would encourage you all to follow us through the Facebook, either Facebook or Instagram, and also like check out all the information, not just fellowship program, but other program as well, such as scholarship program, small grants program, for your information, because we have some excited opportunity for you to join and be a part of SEAOHUN as well. And also like on our website, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see the newsletter section. So if you would like to have a news update opportunity direct into your email box, just simply subscribe it.
All right, bye. You don't see my own hand.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much to all the speakers. I will echo one comment in the chat box. Really our great pleasure to have you all here. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Bye-bye, everyone.